Right now, 9 countries control more than 12,500 nuclear weapons, and most of them are aimed at each other. So here's the question. What's the one spark that could actually turn today's rivalries into World War III? When people hear World War III, they imagine mushroom clouds, tanks rolling through Europe, or apocalyptic Hollywood endings. But the reality is more complex and far more dangerous. Understanding how such a war could actually begin isn't just speculation. It's about recognizing the fragile balance we live in today, where one miscalculation, one false signal, or even one cyberattack could set the world on fire. In this video, we'll break down the scenarios experts believe could trigger the next global war, and what that would mean for all of us. Let's look at the global chessboard. 1. US versus China. Tensions over Taiwan are at their highest in decades. Naval standoffs in the South China Sea are becoming routine, and neither side wants to look weak. 2. Russia versus NATO. The war in Ukraine has already drawn Europe and the US into a proxy conflict with Moscow. The longer it drags on, the more chances there are for a direct clash. 3. Middle East flashpoints. Iran, Israel, and their proxies operate in a constant state of low-level war. One misstep could drag in superpowers on both sides. The challenge is that unlike World War I and II, today's conflicts are interconnected. A sanction here, a military drill there, or even an accident, like a plane shot down, can spiral instantly into global escalation. So, what are the most likely scenarios? 1. Cyber warfare. Imagine an attack that takes down an entire nation's power grid. Hospitals shut down, communications go dark, economies freeze. In just a few hours, governments might think they're facing a full-on attack. 2. Territorial disputes. The South China Sea or the Taiwan Strait could be the 21st century Sarajevo. A single missile hitting the wrong target, or a naval skirmish gone wrong, could drag in the US, China, and their allies. 3. Economic warfare. Sanctions and trade wars may not seem as dramatic as bombs, but history shows they can push nations into corners. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor was partly driven by US oil embargoes. How would China and Russia respond to future economic blockades? 4. Nuclear brinkmanship. With tactical nuclear weapons on alert in both Europe and Asia, the risk of misreading an exercise or responding too quickly is higher than most people realize. The Cuban Missile Crisis nearly ended civilization over a single miscommunication. That risk hasn't gone away. History teaches us that wars rarely begin because leaders want them. They often start because leaders miscalculate or believe their opponents won't respond. So, which scenario is most plausible? Experts point to Taiwan as the #1 flashpoint. Here's why. China has openly declared it will retake Taiwan by force if necessary. The US has signaled it will defend Taiwan, though ambiguously. Japan, South Korea, and Australia would likely be dragged in on America's side. Russia, already isolated from the West, could side with Beijing out of survival. A single naval clash in the Taiwan Strait, perhaps even just one plane shot down, could force both Washington and Beijing into a corner where backing down would look like surrender. That's how World War III would most likely begin, not with a grand declaration, but with one mistake neither side can afford to admit. We've walked through cyber warfare, territorial disputes, economic sanctions, and nuclear brinkmanship. Each of these alone is dangerous, but combined, they create a world where a single spark could set off the firestorm of World War III. The lesson is clear. The greatest threat isn't necessarily deliberate aggression, it's miscalculation. And in a hyper-connected, nuclear-armed world, avoiding that mistake may be the most important challenge of our time. So what do you think? Are we already closer to World War III than most people realize? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe for more deep dives into global issues, and check out our video on the Cold War to see how today's tensions echo the past.